Hi there, Hayvering. It's me, Hazer. Um, yeah, had a couple thoughts recently about some things I felt like would be decent topics for this thing. I'm still not really sure what I'm doing with it, but if you have any topic suggestions, let me know. We should have a lot more content coming out once rosters are announced, but we're gonna have to wait a little while for that, I think. But between now and then, I saw a couple of things recently that I thought were worth touching on and worth talking about. So yeah, I guess let's just jump right into it. The first thing was F-Dot was tweeting some stuff about being disappointed to see, I think it all came out of Adapting announcing his roster in the SCC. Trix was on the roster as well, but being disappointed to see SPL teams in the SCC. Hang on, I'll pull that up now. It's got the wrong thing. One sec. God damn it, man. You should check these before, huh? There we go. That's the one. Normally I'd have my editor cut that, but I don't have one. So anyway, this is the tweet. Seeing big name pros retire and then sign up to coast in the minor league for quick cash really cheapens the league for me. Should have made 2021's pro league season online. I mean, the second bit, I don't really care about it either way. I think switching to online for the pro season or half the season after they just, I don't know. They've already decided that it's an 8-team league that's hosted in Atlanta. I actually made a video when that was first announced saying I thought it was a bad thing, and I think I was probably wrong. I was looking at it a lot from my point of view as a kind of mid-20s guy who had other things going on, and a job and stuff like that. And I think at the end of the day, and I was speaking to people who are similar to me, I was speaking to Nate and Prime and older guys, but I think for a lot of the young guys who moved, it was actually a good thing in the end. But again, we're havering a bit here, which I guess is kind of the point. We're off topic. The point here is seeing big name pros retire and sign up to coast in the minor league. Quick cash really cheapens the league for me. And that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, and I just why I don't agree and why I think it's a good thing that you see these players joining the SCC, and why I don't think it's quick cash. I don't think it's an easy league to play in. Start off with, this is an ongoing thing. Let's look at last season. The players who were in the SCC, who were former SPL, who was all there? You had Pretty Prime, you had Trix Tank, you had Zeros, you had Arkill, you had Deathwalker, Kalas, Emilitu, Ice, Maniac as well. Are there any others? I don't know. But, that's, I don't know how many names I just named there. I should really have done a little bit of research before this, but that's 7 or 8 players, 6 or 7, 7, 8, I don't know, some other that players in, 6-team SCC league. So 5 times 6 is 30 players. About under a third, probably around a quarter of the league would have been former SPL. So, and then you look, and those players didn't stay in the league is the other thing you want to look at, is guys like Deathwalker, Ice, Emil. Emil didn't get relegated for the record, but these other guys did. Deathwalker, Ice, Kalas all got relegated from the SPL. Prime got dropped from his team he was on and ended up in the SOC. Emil, a similar fate. I think him and his team split after phase 1, and he didn't play for a bit and then joined the SOC. Or it was phase 2, I think it was phase 2. But either way, they didn't get an easy ride in the SEC, and it wasn't those teams that dominated the league. The team that dominated the league were Belt Slap, to be fair, Zeros, Arkill, but Julio, Johnny, and Trix. Zeros, Arkill, and Trix were good players, but it's not to say that Julio and Johnny weren't the driving force on that team. I think they were the 2 best players on the team. Maybe Trix up there, but I would say that Zeros and Arkill weren't, at least from the eye test, I'd say that those 2, the solo laner and the jungler for that team, were the real dominant forces. Trix was really good, but I think the SCC actually lacked good supports. So yeah, I don't think it's a free ride in the SCC by any means. I don't think. And the other thing is this roster kind of outlines what I think is the good thing about the pro players going into the SCC, is that Now the pro leagues moved over to NA, there's very little to aspire to in the SCC. There's little to push players on, I think anyway, and little for players to learn from. And I think having guys like Adapting come back, I think having Trix be in the league was a big thing. I think Arco being around is great for all the ADCs. ADCs like Spudio and Streak Up are on the way up, you know? Even guys like Echrome are learning the game as they go. They're learning comp smite still. And they're not quite as established as these other guys. And I think having pro players in the league helps establish a better practice ethic, helps establish a better baseline of quality, and helps people aspire to be as good as these guys. You have people who you can look at, you know, and you say, I want to be able to compete with Adapting these games. Why is he beating me so much? You study him, you see how he's doing it. If that's not the case, then you know, your junglers, like your worst turtles and stuff like that, how are they supposed to learn and move up? I think a big reason Genetics has grown so much in the SCC is because he's been able to play against Trixtank, and play with players like Emil, and play with players like I don't know, Maniac, and learn from them and learn how to be a better player, a better teammate. And I think that's a fantastic thing with SPL players dropping down. I also think, you know, just because you don't want to move to America doesn't mean you should be kicked out of the entire comp scene for a game that you love and you like playing and you've been pushing for a long time. I mean, think about how much Adapting's done for the game. And if you were to say, oh, if you're not SPL, you don't get to compete anymore. You can't compete. You can't make any money. You just have to be a streamer. I think that would be a bit of a slap in the face, and I wouldn't like that. I think Tom has a sort of an aim for the league to be kind of an academy thing where it's only sort of lower tier players, but there are places for that already. There are tournaments you can play in to make your way up. I think the SCC is the only competitive league for Europe, and I think it's, you know, already it's kind of lame enough for EU that there's no pro league anymore here. I wouldn't like to take away the opportunity for the best players in Europe to play in the amateur league. And there's also the thing, where do you draw the line? Is Maniac not able to play? Is Prime not able to play? Am I able to play? I've been SPL. I don't know. I just think trying to gatekeep the SCC rather, is I don't like the idea of it. I think these pro players make the league a better place, make it better for the players who are on the come up, for sure. I think they make teams practice harder to defeat them. And when they don't try, when they don't do what they need to do, they get relegated. We've already seen that last year. So I don't agree with this point. This was F. Dot saying basically, this is how I got into this. Honestly, found out blah, 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 blah. The only thing they could really do from this is to tell Prom or pros they can't play on the SPL. That's kind of why that wasn't just a straw man. I was attacking there. Attacking's a strong word, I hope. So yeah, I personally liked playing against Trixtank. I learned things from playing against Trixtanks. I learned things from playing with Emil, from playing with Maniac, you know, from playing with Prime over the years. I think it would make the league less competitive and it would actually be a detriment to players wanting to make their way up out of Europe. I have my DMs open. Hopefully everything's fine there. It's probably fine. Yeah. Right. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Next up, changes to the SPL format. Nothing too interesting, really, in my opinion. It was just, you know, you get the kickoff and stuff like that. What I thought was interesting, this is what I thought was interesting, is this. Relegations for SPL next year. The plan right now, and this is obviously not to say it's definite, but the plan right now is to have some form of relegations between Season 8 and Season 9, which is super interesting. I'm already excited about this. So this basically means there's going to have to be some kind of a LAN event. There has to be a LAN event, which features the top SCC and bottom SPL teams to decide who can make it in to the Pro League for Season 9. But it does throw up a lot of interesting things. Say, for example, Adapting's team in Season 8 dominates the SCC. he doesn't want to move back to, well, at least I don't think he'll want to move back at that point to Georgia and compete in the SPL again. So how do they manage that? How does this work? Is there some kind of open bracket pre-qualification and they just ignore the SCC and SOC from season 8 and they just have the bottom 2 SPL teams compete against whoever comes out of that? I don't know. I think it could be very interesting. It's going to be very hard to work. And I guess this is kind of one of the bad things about having potentially the top SCC teams feature players who don't want to be in the Pro League anymore, is that if there is a clear path from the SCC to the SPL and people don't want it, then yeah, I don't know how they'll work that. I guess I think what I've outlined there would maybe be my go-to is you ignore season 8. Season 8 is season 8 for the SCC. Qualifications for season 9, bottom 2 SPL, let's say, have to go into maybe even bottom 4. That would be spicy. And then there's, X amount of spots to play for. There's some kind of open brackets online in EU and NA to get teams to qualify, and then they go to a LAN and there's a round robin maybe at the studio. That would be probably the way I would do it. That would be neat though. I'm into that. I didn't really think about this before I started recording. I just kind of hit the button, see what happens. But I'm super interested to see the way they work that. But they don't anticipate applications being the way into the league every year. I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to make that work, honestly. I'm super interested to see how they do it. Yeah, I think that was all I wanted to talk about. I think so. Super sick team, by the way. There's a few sick teams in the EU SCC this year. I'm excited to watch it. Qualifiers will be starting 2 weeks from today. Well, right now it's 12:35 a.m. on the 6th. The 20th of February will be the start of the SCC qualifiers. There will be 3 weeks of open bracket and then one group stage type thing, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. I am planning on streaming that. So yeah, I'll probably stream the EU side. Should be fun. If there's any other topics that you guys want me to cover in this kind of fashion, let me know and I will try and do it. I feel like the last time I had a much more definite idea of the topic I was going into and what I wanted to say about it. This time I just kind of riffed it. So this was a bit more true to the name, Hayvering, I suppose. Might try and do some minor editing on this as well. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a little intro or something one day. We'll be a real YouTuber. Probably not. Yeah, I think that's it from me. Again, leave a comment down below on what you'd like to see me talk about. If there's any topics, we should have a lot of content coming soon with teams being announced. I'll hopefully start recording them soon. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the teams are all accepted. Free agency ended on January 29th. I have just highlighted that while you can't scrape it. Free agency ends January 29th. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't record these past midnight. I feel like this has been a bit of a shit show, hasn't it? I apologize. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you want to hear me talk about. Let me know when you hear let me know what you want to hear me haver about, what you want to hear me jabber on about. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.